Hello, everybody. Tim here. Just coming back at you. Um, Trying to explain um, my belief, and before I go any further and make any more uh, videos, the first thing you have to understand is that the Bible was not written to us. It is a book that contains memories from the life of Christ, written by four people that they call the Gospels. And then there's a bunch of letters that the Apostle Paul wrote to his friends at different churches. And when Jesus was talking in the Gospels, he was talking to the people as you and I would talk today. He wasn't telling them things that were going to happen 2,000 years from that date. He just wasn't. He was talking about that generation and that day. And Paul, in his letters in the New Testament, Corinthians and Ephesians and Colossians, all those books, all those books are the disciples and the apostles and even some newly saved Christians talking about things that were happening in that day and things that were soon to come. Like I said in my one recording, Jesus said that everything that he said, everything that was written would happen before that generation passes. And even in Revelation, when you read Revelation, it's he talks about to be ready because the time is nigh, which means nearer. It's here, basically. So please, I'm just saying, if you think about it with an open mind and you open your heart to God and you talk to him about it and you really, really think about it, critically think, forget everything you've ever been taught or anything anyone has ever said to you before, unless it was a message from God. And you truly know in your heart that it was truly from God and could only be from God, then you'll know that everything has been done. Everything is completed. And it says in the Bible that Jesus was sent to do a short work on the earth. A short work. A short work is not over 2,000 years. It's just not. He came. He was crucified. He was resurrected. He went to heaven, and then he returned during the sack of Jerusalem by the Roman army. That was the abomination of desolation. That was God's punishment on the Jews for the death of the prophets. All the blood of the prophets were on the hands of that generation. and they would be punished. And like Jesus said about the temple, it was laid flat to the ground. Jerusalem was laid flat to the ground. It was the Roman army entrenched them, encircled them during Passover, and there was, I think, close to 1 million people. And, most of them died. Some were led away captive and put into slavery. But most of them died, and they ran out of food and water quick. And, their stories, not in the Bible, but just in history books about the people in Jerusalem. Mothers even cooking and eating their own children and turning to cannibalism and, starving to death and dying of dehydration, infighting, killing each other for scraps, mother against father, parents against children, brother against brother. Just like Jesus said, it happened. And, to get the full history, you can't just read the Bible. You've got to read the history books as well. But it was sometime between, I know it was in the 1st century AD. I can't remember the exact year. But you have to remember that he was not talking, and the Bible was not talking to us way, say, most preachers. They preached like the Bible was written directly to us. And that all comes from the Emperor Constantine, who held, I think, the Council of Nicaea. And this is a guy that killed his own wife. Was a murderer, and he's just not a good person. But he basically hijacked Christianity and made it to be what he wanted it to be. And that ended up more or less transforming into the Roman Catholic Church, the biggest church on the planet, the church that every other religion has branched off from. If it didn't branch directly off from the Catholic Church, it branched off something that branched off. But yeah, it was all a great big modern religion. Is just it started as a great big campaign to rule by fear, and it worked. It's worked for 2,000 years, and but the thing of it is, it doesn't. In the end, it doesn't matter because we're all saved. We're all going to heaven anyway. So, it's sad. All the deception and all that, but in the end, it's all going to be okay. We're all going to be in heaven with God the Father and all our loved ones that have gone on before us. So, I just wanted to try and get that cleared up in case anybody was wondering. The Bible's just not to us. It never was. It was just a bunch of letters that were put together by a evil Roman Emperor, Constantine.